nice things about being an old bastard is that people take care of you whether you need it or not. Thank you very much. Mary Alice from Dallas. You are it. You've been one of us, you still are one of us. But this isn't about Gerry Spence. This is about you. In this room are enough human beings to take over the justice system of this country, which is in the hands of the people who don't anymore care about people. You are the ones that can do this. And I'm here because I get a chance to tell you how powerful you are, how great you are, how at the bottom, right down to your toenails, you have the power to do whatever you decide to do. We walk around all the time feeling that we're powerless, that we don't have any power, that we're just a single trial lawyer in a little town, a single trial lawyer in a big city. And we have those judges that have been appointed by power. And we have juries that have been talked to over and over with the propaganda of power, telling the whole world that we're nothing but a bunch of sleazy, money-grabbing shysters. But we have the power to show them that that isn't true. Do you know what the power is? The power is that you care so much. You can't make up caring. You can't make it look like caring. If you don't care, the jury knows you don't care. And so what happens is that when you walk into a jury, they look at you and they say, this is one of those sleazy lawyers, until they begin to find out that you really care. And don't you know something? Don't you know that caring is a disease? Caring is something that is contagious. And that's why you have so much power. Now I want to thank Mary Alice from Dallas for asking me here. She's a former TLC grad. We've got a lot of TLC grads here, and she said the right thing. She said that we are partners in this effort. Our president, Jude Basile, is a member of this organization, a great trial lawyer who represents the kind of people that you are. Mostly individuals who fights alone, case at a time, in this lonely business. Let me ask you a question. Do you know anything that's more lonely? More lonely than being a trial lawyer. And when we get together, it's so good to find out that there are other people out there like you and like me, and that's one of the things that makes a convention like this work. I want to thank the person who really should get the award, and that's my darling Imogene, the mother of all of our children. I want to thank 6 kids. I got, Jesus Christ, I've got 6 kids and 13 grandchildren. Well, and they're here, and and they just stand for the proposition that we had too much extra time. My partners are here, Mel Orchard, Ryan Ulmer,
Bob Krause.
Thank you. See what I'm trying to talk about is help. Bob, I didn't forget you. It's just that someday you'll have the excuse that I had of not remembering. So, where do I want to go from here? I want to tell you something that I have learned in the last 60 years, over 60 years in the practice of law. And what I've learned is that this business, this idea that there is liberty and justice for all, can you hear that chant, there's liberty and justice for all? In America there's liberty and justice for all, while the corporate king is in the process of taking the liberties and the justice from the people of this country. While we say there is liberty and justice for all, it's almost like there is a propaganda. There is a propaganda that's being told us over and over from the time that we are children, which opens the door to this corporate monster out there, this king that controls everything except us. Except us. And that great myth has taken over the people of this country. Now, it's not helped anywhere along the way. Our law schools are shameful. Now, you know, Mr. Spence stood up there on a platform and he started to talk about our law schools and he said they were shameful. I mean, what if we trained medical people the way we treat our lawyers, the way we train them? Suppose that the doctor never had a scalpel in his hand. He never saw a sick person before he got out of medical school. She never ever learned anything about how to cure sickness. They had learned nothing. And when they got out of school, they began to stack up the corpses outside of their little office. Corpse and a corpse and the corpse and the corpse, trying to learn how to save people. That's where and that's how. We've been trained in law school by people who have no idea of what you're doing. There are a few, there are exceptions, but they stand out as extraordinary exhibits of greatness. But by and large, the law schools of this country should be disbanded. Now, take just a minute and breathe, and is just to overcome your shock. And you can say that old son of a bitch said that all of our law schools ought to be shut down. Everybody's law school but mine. But I want you to know that your law school violated its duty to you as well. And the first one that we should shut down would be Harvard. And I thought I'd never get a hand for that. And the second one should be Yale. No. Let us keep Harvard and Yale to supply the lawyers for for the corporate king. Perhaps supply the lawyers for the corporations and for big money. Let's let them train those monkeys. And I can call them monkeys too, because we've all sinned, and I did some of that monkey business when I was a young lawyer myself and represented some corporations. So, let me tell you something that I think we haven't thought about a lot. We get unhealthy from time to time, and we need a doctor. But let me ask you a question. If the time came that you had to make a choice between giving up some of your health and your freedom, that is to say, if the time came when you had to decide that you couldn't see the doctor, but if you could see a lawyer, he might get you, or she might get you justice. Who do you think, and what do you think would be your choice? Most people in this country believe that justice is out there just for the asking. And most people in this country, if they were asked to make that decision, would say, I could get along without a doctor for a while, but I cannot stand, I cannot bear to be without justice. Look at the Trayvon Martin case as an example. Those people that are in the penitentiary, there are countless, hundreds of thousands of people in the penitentiaries of this country that would not be there had they had a competent lawyer to defend them. You and I think, well, you know, I don't know what's going on out there. That doesn't bother me. I mean, the cops aren't going to bother me or my family. We're law-abiding citizens. It only takes care of, it only affects those people that we don't even know until one day. You, the little sparrow. And there's a part of us that we're all little sparrows. And we come flying by, and the hawk up there in the tree focuses on us, and it grabs us. And suddenly we are no longer a sparrow, but we are the prey. And our penitentiaries are filled with people, citizens, our kids, like you and me, like Trayvon Martin, like the poor and the powerless across this land who have become the prey of a system in which the idea of liberty and justice for all and competent counsel for everybody is little more than an empty promise. I want to start by end my rampage here. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to rampage. When I go home, I say, I had a whole bunch of lawyers in there, and they're all gentlemen and ladies, and they didn't even get up and leave. And I got to say all this stuff, you know, that's been on my mind, and they They didn't even leave. So, I wonder what a successful lawyer is. This is the money business, huh? We hear about the big multi-million-dollar cases. We know that our success is measured by how much money we have in this country, the kind of house and the car we have, the car we drive, how good our golf game is. I mean, the people that we go with, hang out with, the moneyed people. I mean, money is how we measure our success. He got this big verdict, she got this big verdict, multi-million-dollar verdicts, most of which have been taken away from us by power. It's not even funny, is it? By judges who have been elevated by power, by judges who are mostly prior prosecutors, which is not to say that we don't have some great judges, because we do, but you can't have a mass of judges who do not qualify as great unless you have some great judges, and we have some. But this is a money system. All we've talked about here mostly is money. I haven't heard anybody tell you, and I know that you are going to agree with me, and you're going to say, well, Jerry, if you'd listened, you would have heard it. But I haven't heard it yet really said out of the heart and the soul and the guts of each of us that the truly successful lawyers are the lawyers that we don't even know, that most of whom can't afford to be here, most of whom are out there fighting that fight for ordinary people day after day after day and don't know how to pay the rent tomorrow. They're out there fighting because there's a mother who has been abused. There is a father who has lost his job and has been discriminated against, and the amount of recovery is small. And the great power structure up there has said, you can't get to court for 2 years, and so starve to death between now and that time. And the court system out there makes the cost for this little unnamed lawyer that's out there, who is one of the great trial lawyers and one of the great human beings in this country, who is nameless, who we don't even know, can't figure out how to pay the bills tomorrow or how to buy the experts that he needs. And he fights on and he fights on. I'd like to see him drafted and hauled up out of podunk and put up here on the stage, and that we could all get on our knees and praise him and thank him for saving our system, because we don't save it. We just help save it. But I'll tell you who does save it. It's that little lawyer out there that I'm talking about, that in our hearts we admire, because he is a great trial lawyer and a great human being, and most of all, he or she is a success, even if they can't pay the rent. Now, I'm going to leave you from this platform, and I'm going to leave you otherwise. And take a long sleep. I don't know when that would be. I'm in good health. Imogene, don't worry about it. You know, when you get to be 85 years old and you look around, you can't see any of your colleagues anymore. They're all dead. And they've already just turned in from memories into little mounds of dirt. I mean, here's George, and here's Billy, and here I. I'm up here talking to you. And so, if we are intelligent about this, we have to know that this can't go on forever. And so, what does that mean with me here and you there? It means something like this. It means, brothers and sisters, that you carry the responsibility not only for this organization, but for the little people, the little trial lawyers who can't get here, who can't afford the plane fare to be with us. And it's you who have the responsibility, because you can, and because you can undertake this fight, and because you have the means to undertake this fight. It's up to you to finish it. And you have the power to finish it. And so I leave you with the responsibility of saving America, of saving it and making the promise of our founders more than just pretty words. That there is indeed, in fact, liberty and justice for all.